This is Kim Snider from Sync to CRM, and I want to welcome you to episode number 7 of Facebook Live with Kim Snider. Today's topic is going to be 3 stupid Facebook ad metrics that need to die, which is inspired by a recent post over on the WordStream blog by Larry Kim, who's the CEO of WordStream. And I think his was called 6 stupid marketing metrics that need to die. So today I'm doing only three stupid Facebook metrics that need to die. So in that vein, right, I'm going to tell you what they are, the 3 metrics that are so useless. And actually, I'm going to even go further than that and say that they can be in the wrong hands, that they could be downright dangerous, causing you to make really bad decisions and lose money on your Facebook ads. But of course, I'm not going to just leave it there. I will also tell you what you should be looking at instead and why. But very quickly, I just want to make sure that everybody knows about the cheat sheet that I put together for this episode. There's, as usual, no need to take notes or remember all of the exact details, because after all, I know that most of you are doing something else anyway, right? So each week I create a cheat sheet with everything that I cover in the broadcast, including if there are any screenshots, links, resources, and just anything else that I think would be helpful. I put all of those into the cheat sheet. And so rather than trying to remember all the nitty-gritty details, you only need to remember one thing, and that is this URL to get the cheat sheet. Sync to, the number 2, crm.com/EP7, like episode 7. That's how you get the cheat sheet, all right? Also, as you're listening, it sure help me out a bunch if you would share this on your timeline or pages, of course, assuming that it was valuable enough that you think it should be shared. That will help me get in front of more people. And that, it's kind of the point of doing this. And then finally, as we go along, if you want to type in your questions, I'd be more than happy to take those here towards the end. All right? Excellent. So here we go. So as I said before, I am going to go out on a little limb here, maybe a big limb, and say that these 3 Facebook ad metrics aren't just stupid, they're harmful, at least in the wrong hands. They're harmful because when you use them to make decisions, as almost all advertisers do, you're making decisions on bad data. And bad data leads to wrong-headed decisions, like killing ads that were actually working and keeping ads that are crap. So maybe you're one of the millions of people who've tried Facebook ads and lost money, right? Or maybe you're running ads but don't really know if they're truly making you money or not. Well, it is likely because you are focusing on the wrong numbers. So let me tell you what the 3 stupid Facebook ad metrics that need to die are. They are 1, page likes, 2, click-through rate, and 3, cost per X. Whatever X is. We often look at cost per clicks or cost per views, cost per engagement, cost per install. Depends on which ad objective you choose, but depending on whichever one you choose, they give you a cost per X. And whatever that is, right, that's a stupid, well, I'll elaborate on CPX here in a minute. But the first 2 for sure are stupid, so let's go through them one by one. All right, so the first one is page likes. Now, when I say this, it doesn't mean we don't want page likes. We do. Page likes indicate relevance, both to us and Facebook. They're an excellent way of someone saying that they like what it is that we're doing and that, we want to to know more. Okay, so page likes are a good thing. They also provide social proof. When someone comes to your page, if they see that you have, you're proclaiming to be an expert and you have 5 page likes, like it or not, it may just mean that you just started your page, but like it or not, we have a natural bias towards that. Another thing is they allow us, once we have enough of them, to use audience insights on those people who have liked our page, and those can be very helpful in terms of figuring out your ad targeting. And then finally, and my favorite reason for having page likes is that you can use those as targeting in your ads, which in fact I'm running a set right now, and I've got 3 my page fans, friends of my page fans, and then in a third ad set, the typical interest group that I usually use, and the fans and friends of fans are, as expected, doing much, much better than just the standard Facebook interest targeting. So they're good for that reason as well. But here's the thing. Likes are not something that we buy. They are something that we earn. And therefore, page likes should not be a primary metric because you can't eat likes. So the second metric is click-through rate. And you can't eat clicks either. Let me give you an example that illustrates why this is a stupid metric. Let's just imagine that you've got 2 different ads. And on the one ad, 100 people see that ad and 100 people click on that ad. So you have a 100% click-through rate on the ad, but nobody buys. And then you've got another ad where another 100 people saw it and only 1 person clicked, but that person bought. So in that case, which would you rather have? The 100% click-through rate or the 1% click-through rate? You see, click-through rate doesn't really matter, at least not as a primary metric, okay? So then we get to cost per X, whatever that might be, clicks, views, conversions. Now, unlike the other 2, this one actually does have some value. And oh, thanks for the thumb, whoever that was. This one does have some value, but not, here's what I hear people say. Ooh, in fact, I heard someone say this just the other day. I don't mean to pick on you if you know who you are. However, because everyone says this. Oh, should I advertise on the audience network? There's lots of cheap clicks over there. Cost per click is what that's based on. I want the cheapest possible X. And that's garbage because cheap clicks do not correlate with buyers. In fact, I would be willing to bet that there's probably a negative correlation with buyers. So again, let me give you an example to illustrate the point, right? It's sort of the same idea. Now, the reason I said this has value, by the way, is because it does have great value in relationship to lifetime value, okay? So and you should know lifetime value, that's a key number. But even if you don't know it because you don't have software calculating it for you, you can make a guess, okay? So if, for example, my coaching program is $2,000, then my group coaching program, then even if there's never another add-on or anything else, right? We can calculate that the average lifetime value of a customer is going to be something around that. Actually, I know mine's much higher, but let's just imagine that, we say, all right, well, $2,000 is our lifetime value. Well, okay, if I know that, then that number tells me how much I can pay for a customer, for a lead, and for a click, right? So it's in relationship to that lifetime value that number has any meaning whatsoever. Because here's the thing, if I have a $20 lifetime value, then clearly the cost that I can afford to pay for a click, lead, customer is very small relative to someone who has a $2,000 or $8,000 lifetime value of a customer. Okay. Well, if I have an $8,000 lifetime value, which I do, then a $2 click, and I don't get $2 clicks, but whatever, a dollar click, a $2 click, a $20 customer is irrelevant in that scheme, okay? But it's very relevant if you have $2. So to say I want cheap clicks doesn't mean anything. In trying to pursue cheap clicks, you may actually be getting lousy quality leads that aren't going to convert to a customer, or you are limiting yourself when you could actually be paying a lot more for a click. The cost of the click is just not relevant in the grand scheme of things because you have such a high lifetime value. And that's why I think that the metric is generally crap, because it causes people, when they don't understand it, to make bad decisions. Okay? So, assuming all that is true, then what's the answer? Well, I think there are two metrics that should be your primary focus. Those are relevance score, which is a Facebook metric, and ROI, return on investment, which is not a Facebook metric. So let's talk about both of them. The Facebook's relevance score is the synthesis, actually. They give you one number, and it boils down, thanks for the like, it boils down a bunch of different metrics into a single understandable number. It ranges from 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, and it includes things like engagement and clicks and conversions and click-throughs and even negative reviews. So instead of getting one of those, you get one of those, and that counts against you. And all of those go into your relevance score. So what I think you should shoot for is a relevance score of 8 or above. And if you aren't getting that on your ad, then you should try a couple of things. Number one is I'm having trouble with my numbers. Number one, there we go, is to try to make your targeting more specific if possible, because a lot of times that you're targeting too broad, and therefore, right, most of the reach doesn't find it relevant. It's driving your relevance score down, and therefore your reach down and your cost up. Okay, and another thing you can do if you're below 8 is to change the creative, because maybe you've got it going to the right audience, but something in the way that you've got your creative, they aren't perceiving it as being relevant. And where I would start is with your image, because of course that's the thing that stands out the most. That's the thing that's, it's sort of like your headline or your subject on an email. Start with that, because that's where going to be the lever that moves gives you the biggest change. Okay, people notice that first. Okay, and the way that you get your relevance score, in case you are not familiar with it or you haven't seen it, just so you know, Facebook doesn't assign you a relevance score until you have at least 500 reach, a reach of at least 500. Then they give you a relevance score. And the way that you get it is you have to, they actually give you one on both the ad set and each individual ad. And so you have to click through into the ad set of the ad, and if you don't see it, you probably have to scroll to the right, and because it's usually on the far right. And if you don't see it, then you may need to go up into custom and check the box that says relevance, so that it's there, relevance score. Okay, so it's a very important number. Now, that said, remember that these metrics mean nothing in and of themselves, right? At this point, the reason we're looking at relevance score is because we are simply trying to project or predict as best as we can whether an ad will yield a buyer as early as we can. All right. And again, that's why I say click-through rate isn't that meaningful. Likes aren't that meaningful, but relevance score is, because, you know, the more relevant an ad is, and Facebook has actually proven and spoken to this correlation, okay, that the higher relevance score, the more relevant the ad is, then the more likely that person is to convert if they engage with it. So as far as a predictive indicator, relevance score is the best we have. And that's why I put it on the list as one metric that you should look at. But really, you know, the proof is in the pudding. And there's really only one number that really matters. And it's the only number that you can eat. And that number is return on investment. It is the profit, the sales and the profit that you make on your ad. So the famous department store magnate, John Wanamaker, is famous for saying, half of my ad budget is wasted. The problem is I just don't know which half, okay? And this is relevant to this ROI problem that we have with Facebook advertising. Because the only way, truthfully, to measure any investment in our business, whether it be, it doesn't matter what the investment is, you know, whether it be time or money, okay? If you don't know the return on investment numbers, then you're basically relying on hope. You're hoping that this thing makes you money. And hope is a terrible strategy. I used to say that to my investment clients all the time, and it's true for my Facebook clients as well. Hope is a terrible investment strategy. Okay, so let me tell you why people look at these three stupid numbers rather than the only one that really matters, being return on investment. And it's because Facebook gives us those numbers, so they must be relevant, right? Facebook gave them to us. Well, wrong. But here's the other reason. It's because getting to a true ROI number based on the data is actually really hard. It basically takes a data scientist and hours and hours and hours with an Excel spreadsheet and exporting numbers and trying to match stuff up. None of us have time for that. Like, especially not us, small businesses and small business owners. So we just basically sweep the fact that advertisers are flying blind under the rug and pretend like some of these other numbers mean something. But I've got really good news for you. Now, depending on what CRM and e-commerce system you use, you can measure it. There is a piece of software called Wicked Reports that I have nothing to do with it. It was created by one of my fellow Infusionsoft developers that does just that. And the URL, in case you're wondering, is just wickedreports.com. I'll put it in the notes, and it's also in the cheat sheet if you want that, which is at synctocrm.com/Ep7. And what Wicked Reports does is it's just genius. It tracks every click on your Google ads, your Facebook ads, your emails, websites, social media posts, almost anything really. So it ties those clicks to both the opt-in and the sale. So what you're able to see is, number one, are you making money with your marketing or losing it? That's sort of at the, the highest level. A little bit down a level is which of your marketing efforts are making you money and which aren't. Is your Facebook ads maybe Google is, Facebook ads aren't, or, vice versa. All the time and effort you spend on social posts, do those clicks ever turn it into revenue? Well, Wicked can tell you that. And then down finally, kind of at the most granular level, easy for me to say, is within those individual efforts, which email specifically or Facebook ads specifically, for example, are making you money, and how much, and from which target audience. And that's the sort of data that you need in order to properly run a business, any business, and properly run your marketing efforts. And as I said, without it, you're just blind. So I believe at the moment, Wicked supports Infusionsoft, Stripe, and Ontraport, and I am one of their beta testers for Active Campaign. So that's not public yet, but coming very soon. And I'm pretty sure I heard Scott or Andy say that they were planning to release some of the other payment gateways soon. Like don't quote me on this, but I think they said things like authorize.net and some of the others. And just so you know, look, I'm not telling you this because I make any money from Wicked Reports. I do not. Although, if you sign up, I hope you will tell them that you heard about them from me on this broadcast, because I'm a big advocate because I just think it's essential. I am a user, obviously, as are people like Frank Kern and Ryan Dice and Ryan Levesque, and anybody else basically who understands that if you don't have the numbers that are provided by Wicked, then you're flying blind, and that you can't run a business that way. So let's see. Just to summarize here, the 3 metrics that lead advertisers astray, in my opinion, are page likes, click-through rate, and cost per whatever. And what you should be focusing on instead are relevance score and return on investment. And that's it for my little rant today. So I'm about to go to questions. If you all have any, I've seen a couple of likes come by, which I really do appreciate. So if you have any questions about your Facebook ad metrics or anything else, actually, I'm happy to answer anything. And hopefully I'm going to be able to see those on my page. We'll see here in just a second. So if you want to type them in, because I know that there is a bit of delay between when you type them and when I am able to see them. And then for those of you who are watching after the fact, which is frankly the vast majority of people, I want you to still feel free to ask your questions as well. Just put those in the comments down below, because I do always make an effort to come back and answer those when you do. Okay, and then I'll give you one more final reminder, which is the cheat sheet, and where you can get it. It's at sync2, the number 2, crm.com. That's my website, sync2crm.com /EP7, like episode 7.